And it's one of those things where like when you're looking at it and you're either new to the software industry or you don't have a background in like what enterprise software needs to be, you can get caught in this trap of when I built incredible software and like they really wanted to buy it. So they bought it from us and now they have it and everything's great. And I can go help more people or go continue building a beautiful, amazing product. But people miss the fact that you need to continue partnering. You need to continue working with the customer. So what was exciting to me was Proscia made the conscious effort of, hey, we need to do things differently. And we need to look at this as an enterprise software company and not, we just built something really cool.
Welcome to the People of Pathology podcast. I'm Dennis Strink. On this podcast, we explore pathology, laboratory medicine, and forensic science. We've talked before about technological advancements in pathology from vendors, but how can we, as customers, influence those advancements? Today, my guest is Jason Maloney, Vice President of Customer Experience at Proscia. Jason and I discuss the importance of understanding client needs in delivering exceptional experiences. And we'll get into how feedback from customers is used to improve products and advance the field. All right, here we go with Jason Maloney. We're going to be talking mostly about your working customer experience, but first, let's get some of your backstory. So Jason, can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Jason Maloney. I'm the Vice President of Customer Experience at Proscia. And customer experience really is everything that touches our clients after they've been sold. And for me, my background has always been customer facing. I had one job that was kind of like an internal analyst, and I realized pretty quickly into that it was a passion of mine to kind of work with customers and figure out what it is that kept them up at night, what it is they needed, and then how do we solve that and how do we make it where they're delighted by what they're using. So my entire career has been customer facing after that moment, and everything from working at small 10-person companies to Fortune 50 companies that are hundreds of thousands of people to right in the middle at that, like that 100 to 1,000 person mark. And I really, my home is where I can work in a smaller company, have a massive amount of impact, and that impact be really beneficial to the customer base at the end of the day. So software, technology, customers, like you take all those together, I'm the happiest guy in the world.
So why do you think that is then, that you always were interested in the customer, to be customer facing, like you said?
Yeah. And this might sound silly, but I like helping people. Like I'm a big fan of if I can provide a service and someone can leave an experience with me or with my team and they're happier than when they first came in, that is the coolest thing in the entire world to me. So it's why I've been attracted to working with customers. It's why I like leadership. I'm not, and I want to go take a victory lap and say, look at what Jason did. I'm more so, look at what my customers did. Look at what my people did. Like I like sitting on the sidelines and going ballistic, clapping, going wild for people that can be successful because I've helped them out. So that's like a me thing that drives me and gets me up in the morning.
Okay, I like that. I can kind of relate to that too. So like you said, your career, you've always been kind of customer facing and you've been in some major tech companies.
Yeah.
So I'm curious throughout that then, what was it that drew you to Proscia and to the world of digital pathology?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting because I've always scratched the itch of helping people, but I looked at it and it was always in a sense of I was but I made value associated with what we were doing. So whatever the end goal was, I was like, this is valuable for humans. It's valuable to help. But what's interesting is my wife's a nurse anesthetist. So as she was going and getting her DMP, as she was going to nursing school, I'd leave the day and something would be tough. And I'm like, oh man, like I was helping this client, but they lost a little bit of money or they were a little bit slower to this with what I did. And my wife was like, well, I mean, someone passed away today and then I brought them back to life, or I stopped them, or like I helped a grandfather go see their grandkids again. And I was like, whoa, like talk about impact. That's massive. That's massive. And for me, I'm not a medical professional by trade. And really, when that hit me, I was like, I'm not going to go back to school to go do this, but where can I help? And I went, well, I've got technology. I've got this background in helping customers. What if I helped customers that did what my wife did? What if I helped customers that really saved lives? And what was fascinating and kind of what brought me to Proscia was I really wasn't looking, to just be perfectly transparent. I know a lot of people say that, but I was happy where I was. But there was like this back of mind, could you be doing more? And when I saw the opening at Proscia, it was basically like, hey, do you want to help folks get diagnosed more efficiently and then help find a cure for cancer more efficiently? And I saw that 1 week after my mother won her battle against breast cancer. And I literally, like, I'm not kidding. I like sat back in my chair. I remember I was sitting here, sat back in my chair and went, I should have a conversation about this, because I
Hmm.
had just gone through a really tough summer of going through surgeries with my mom, the diagnosis, and kind of helping her out as like primary person. And it's always been back of mind of, you could be doing more to help. And then I get hit with this and I went, all right, I'm gonna, like, this is an opportunity I need to really listen to. And when I started digging into the mission, I was like, yep, this is it. I want to have impact here because I want to have impact on these customers here. And even if it's, I'm having a little piece, and if that's helping a family or that's helping someone similar to my mother, I'm like, yeah, done. I'm in, like, 2 feet. I got this.
Yeah, that kind of personal aspect to it. I mean, I can relate to that. Also, I've had family members that have battled and beat cancer, and that really makes an impact for you. And the timing of that is very interesting.
Wild, literally wild. Like,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
I think it was 6 days. So I can't say it was 1 week to the day, but it was like six
Uh-huh.
days after we were like, okay, we're done. Like, yeah, sure. There's like a forever battle we're going to have to, I was like, but we got through the heart of it. Now let's go. And then
Hmm.
got hit with this. And yeah, it was wild timing.
Yeah. And I've interviewed quite a few people from Proscia at this point, and the mission of this company is something that almost everybody mentions because it's very specific, and it's basically trying to change the world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like that really had an impact on you as well.
100%, 100%. And I've always, I'll call it, fallen in love with the companies I work with and feel very passionate about the mission. This to me is it's a completely different game. And it's something that I really like, can bleed company colors in that sense of like, okay, we're really changing the world. We're not just driving efficiency somewhere, which is important, but not life-saving. We are changing the world of how we're looking at precision medicine. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. So let's get into customer experience, or I
Yeah.
guess this is abbreviated CX, right?
Yeah.
If you want to be one of the cool kids. So this is so CX is well established in kind of the broader software industry,
Mhm.
but it's fairly new when it comes to digital pathology. So first, can we talk about specifically what is customer experience, how we're referring to it here, and then how does it fit into Proscia?
Absolutely. And it's funny. I will let go of acronyms just because there's a lot of them. So customer experience, I really
Okay.
look at it. It's the post-sale experience. And it's like, okay, Jason, well, what does that mean? So for us, there's three parts of customer experience at Proscia. There's professional services, technical support, and customer success. And those three divisions make up customer experience. So professional services is the organization that's really the first interaction you're going to have with Proscia. They're the people that are going to roll up their sleeves, say, let's get this set up. What are you trying to accomplish? And let's make sure the technology matches with what you're trying to accomplish. Technical support is typical what you think of support. You're at your lowest point where something's not working or you're frustrated and you need a team of empathetic humans, brilliant empathetic humans that are going to sit there and go, I get your problem. Let me have a technical fix for that problem. And then last, but certainly not least, is customer success. And customer success for us is the partners of the customer that gets to sit down with the customer and say, okay, we're glad things are working. We're glad you're using it. That's like the baseline. Why did you purchase this? Like, what's the goal? What's your hospital system trying to accomplish by moving to digital pathology? What are the internal goals that you have? What were pain points that you felt? And really having a conversation of making sure we're hitting that piece for them. So the way I look at it is my whole team working kind of like in conjunction with one another are making sure that technically you are up, running and rocking and rolling, that if you do trip, that we're here to give you a hand up and help you move forward. And then finally, making sure you're getting the absolute most you can out of the software so that you can have as much impact on your job as possible. So that's kind of CX from a top level for
Okay.
the way that I look at it.
Okay. So let me see if I can kind of summarize it. You're not just selling the product and going, okay, see you later. Like, are you coming back and like checking in with your customers? Like, how are things going? What do you need from us? That kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point. You've got it where a lot of times in the software world, it's looked at of you made the sale, you got things done, you were able to hand off the software and it's let me know if you need us. And people are kind of expected to take things on their own and try things out on their own. And that doesn't work. And it's one of those things where, like, when you're looking at it and you're either new to the software industry or you don't have a background in like what enterprise software needs to be, you can get caught in this trap of when I built incredible software and like they really wanted to buy it. So they bought it from us and now they have it and everything's great. And I can go help more people or go continue building a beautiful, amazing product. But people miss the fact that you need to continue partnering. You need to continue working with the customer. So what was exciting to me was Proscia made the conscious effort of, hey, we need to do things differently. And we need to look at this as an enterprise software company and not, we just built something really cool and we hope you like it. It's, we need to make sure you're getting value out of it. We need to make sure it's working. We need to make sure we've got an open communication. So we're asking you how things are going and you're telling us what you need. And that's not even just, oh, I want this widget to be blue or I like this button to be bigger or smaller. It's, hey, we're changing directions as a business, or we're noticing these trends and where digital pathology is going. Jason, what can you and your team help me get there? Or what can you be doing to bring that feedback back to your team, to the product team and engineering team, so that we continue to build ahead of the curve and help out there? So there's this key component that I feel in industries that have brilliant people building really cool software gets missed in the, but what about this part? What about taking care of the customer? And that's really where CX like falls in really, really well.
Okay. I mean, this sounds like a great idea, but it's not really the norm in digital pathology. Why do you think that is?
So the way that I look at it is you've either got pathologists or brilliant scientists that have started a company and done a really good job of building out, as I said, an incredible product. Like they've built something fascinating, or there's larger companies that have done things in certain ways for a really long time and that are in the that are in this space. And I find that both sides of those spectrums have ways of doing things and don't look at it as what's this mass adoption look like, or what's the mass adoption of my software look like? And when I mean that, I mean just selling to a hospital system. What does it mean for that hospital system to really appreciate what we're doing, and the laboratory to appreciate what we're doing, or the life sciences company? What does that actually mean? And it's genuinely easy to fall into the trap of, well, they're using it and they say they're happy. And we look at it on our end and look how many users we have and look how many slides we've gone through and, oh, they're using AI, like check. And that's an easy practice. And when you say it like that you're like, oh, well, that's all you need to do. It's the companies that I've come from, the history that I've pulled from have looked at it of you've got to be different. You've got to differentiate yourself and you've got to make it where you really care about the customer, because that's kind of that secret sauce that gets tied into. And what excited me about Proscia was the company had already realized they needed to do something. They realized they were doing it, but there was a better way to do it. And they just didn't know how. And they needed to bring someone in that has done this previously. So I feel like in general, it's not a fault of the industry. It's not a fault for other players in it. It's more so the fact of it's hard to do. And it's really easy for you to look at and just say, yeah, but everything's working and we're building something great and they like what we have and we're good. And I find that to be a trap. And that's what personally I look at it of like that's a trap to fall into. And at some point they're going to hit something and go, oh man, I really wish we helped our customers get set up more efficiently. Or I really wish we really invested in making sure that when they fell down, it wasn't just oh, darn, it's not working. What do you want to
Mm-hmm.
do about it? And it's, here's a hand up, let's push you forward. So I think more folks will catch on, but I'm excited to be ahead of the curve in that regard.
Okay. I like that. It's very forward thinking. Now I'm curious then, because as we mentioned, you come from outside of healthcare. You've worked in customer success in different industries.
Yeah.
I'm curious, are there things that you learned from those other industries that you bring to your role in Proscia?
100%,
Okay.
100%. And what's excited me about my career is that I haven't just been in one industry, and I've been able to go to different spaces which need different value articulation and different, like, working with, like, to discover problems and help problems, and everyone's got something different. And what I learned fairly early on in my career is companies fall into, they look at things and they either call folks users or customers or clients. And I'm like, okay, whatever you call them, they're humans at the end of the day. And
Uh-huh.
I know that's funny to say, but the folks interacting with your software are human beings. They don't wake up and go, yes, I get to go use software. They have a job that needs to get done, and they don't want to be forced to use software that's going to get in the way. They want their lives to be easier because they've got families, they've got pets, they've got lives outside of what they're doing. And a lot of the times you've got passionate people that just want to do what they're doing just more efficiently or make their lives easier or have less eye strain or whatever it may be. So looking at this isn't just, oh, we've got 1,000 users here or 500 users here. It's like, okay, there's 500 humans that need us to treat them like humans and work with them in a collaborative way to go get this done. And for me, that's something I've brought with me from whatever the end user is I'm working at, whether they're doctors, whether they're engineers, whether they're designers, they're humans. They have a job to get done. They don't want software to get in the way with them. They don't like change, but they want, if they're going to experience change, for it to shift them in the right direction. And we 100% need to support that. So that's like the biggest thing that I've brought in, of just like treat your customers like humans on a very high level. There's some really good, I will say there's some really good findings that I've had of working with best practices for Fortune 100, Fortune 500 customers, best practices from working with SMB and startups that I've kind of pulled together to say, just because this company isn't 1,000 people, let's treat them as if they're going to grow to that, and let's support them in a way that's scalable for their business, and not just go, oh, well, it's a 10-person shop, or this laboratory isn't huge. Like, let's do it this way. Let's treat them in a enterprise manner that's going to support them, whether they're 10 people or 10,000 people that are using the software. So I've kind of taken all of that. That's a big part of who I am and like how I work with customers. I've tried to take that and apply it here. And I think it's worked pretty well.
Okay, I like that. The first thing you said about treating the customers as humans, that's something I can relate to. My job as a pathologist assistant, it's often easy to treat a tissue specimen as a case, a specimen.
Yeah.
But it's a patient, it's a person. So it's a similar kind of mindset. So I like that a lot.
100%. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you about in reading about Proscia's CX initiatives, it resulted in reduced time to go live
Yeah.
with the software, which I imagine a lot of your customers, your humans, really like a lot. Can you talk about, were there specific strategies or processes that led to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that I look at this is, when you're building a team of folks that need to go out and build things for clients, there's three parts of that. There's the people, there's process, and technology. And we looked at it, and we had incredible people that were working at our company that were really, really passionate about what needed to be done. But there were processes that needed to be improved, strategies that needed to be improved, and some technological ways that we could look at things differently and say, why are we doing it this way? Why are we doing these 15 steps? Can that 15 steps be 8? So a lot of what we did was changing around our process to be more, I'll call it, industry standard to software. And what I mean by that, and not just using jargon, is
Okay.
we specifically had it where we had brilliant people on the team that were doing multiple different jobs. And we, of course, were comfortable with that because well, these are really smart humans and they need to do task A, task B, task C. And when you look at that, a lot of times you could have someone who wears 7 different hats to go do 7 different things. Or you could look at it and say, well, you get out of bed in the morning and you love task 1 and 2. Let's just have you do what you're best in the world at and work on task 1 and 2. And then the person who can do task 1 and 2, and they're good at it, but really slows them down because they're not a fan of it, let's get them to work on the second task. So one of the things that we did pretty early on in like the CX journey is look at what people got out of bed in the morning for, what were their talents, what were they best in the world at, and having them solely focus on that. And just that slight shift for us of saying this team is going to specifically work on implementations, this team's going to specifically work on solutions design from a software perspective, we saw massive improvements from that of just having it where instead of it's one person's going to work on everything, really having specialists and taking generalists and allowing them to be specialists to go in and set up the software more efficiently and educate the client more efficiently and really understand their problems and get to that faster. At the same exact time, we are lucky in that we were doing that as the world is getting better and better technology from software systems that we use to how we build the customer. So really those three pieces came together to allow it that as we got more specialized, our time to go live dropped pretty significantly. As our technology was getting better with us, our time to go live dropped significantly. So there's always the customers, obviously, like we as humans are not patient creatures usually. So we look at things and we
Yeah.
wish we had a magic wand to go, great, I bought it. Can I have it now? Like you got me so excited for this. Can you just like snap your fingers and everything just works perfectly so I can experience the benefit? So really
Mhm.
anything after a snap of the finger is slow to folks. So we're really excited that we're getting there faster and faster to kind of meet clients with their excitement of, wow, okay, that was faster than I thought. I wanted it to be instant, but this was faster than I thought. This is fantastic. Now we get to finally use the software and the systems that we're so excited to use.
Okay. Okay. I like that. So, like I said, the time to go live, that reducing that time has got to be huge. Are there other benefits that you found for the Proscia users?
Yeah, 100%. I think it was done faster, it was done better. Because again, having people work on what they're best in class at had it to be that the outcome was better in V1. And what I mean by that is that normally there's like, I'm talking if we've got 90% efficiency going to 95. That's a big difference. 90 is still great. You're still in a really good spot. You've got a great software deployed. But if there's anything we can do to make that even better and we'll never get to perfection, but get as close to perfection as we can. That's huge for users. So now you've got it where you're not only up and running live faster, you've now got an even more efficient product that's going to scale more efficiently with you because it was designed in such a way that worked really, really well. So the biggest piece is time to value because the time to go live, time to value, because every minute you're not using it is a minute you're sitting there kind of waiting for something to happen. But when we can not only get there faster, but also have a phenomenal product at the end of the day, it's not just, oh, okay, you did this fast, but you didn't think about X, Y, and Z. It's, wow, you got here fast and I'm delighted with what I've got at the end of the day.
This is the People of Pathology podcast with our guest, Jason Maloney from Proscia. We'll be right back. LabVine is an interactive online learning platform where laboratory professionals learn, develop, and discover by sharing knowledge and building on each other's experience. The platform provides global access to internationally accredited laboratory-specific courses and other resources developed by lab specialists, like us, for the laboratory industry. LabVine is free to sign up, and you can use the link in the show notes to get started. If you think it would be nice to have a helpful reference about digital pathology, I have some great news for you. Dr. Alexander Zhirov has written a book called Digital Pathology 101. All you need to know to start and continue your digital pathology journey. This book will help you whether you're a complete novice or a digital pathology trailblazer. You can get a copy of it by following the link in the show notes. Now for the rest of my conversation with Jason Maloney on the People of Pathology podcast. So now we've talked about how this benefits the customer. Let's look at this in the other direction. How does the feedback that you're getting from the customer, how are you taking that back to Proscia's internal teams and how does it benefit them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's always this piece of companies want to hear what their customers, their humans that are using the platform are looking for. And there's always this piece of, oh, well, is it a user interview? Is it a survey that's being sent out? And while companies do all of those things, and we do all of those things, having a connection with the client and having a relationship with the client where you understand what they're looking for and get to go a level deeper is huge. So what I mean by that is normally you say, hey, I want some feedback. And someone says, I want the button to be blue. And it's a terrible example, which is why I use it, but like a blue button would be great. A lot of
Yeah.
companies look at that and go, okay, blue button, like period. And they don't really go further, which kind of kills me. So the way I look at this is all of my teams really work to understand, hey, that's great. Blue's a wonderful color. Why do you need it blue? What do you do? Like, walk me through the 5 steps you're doing beforehand before you get to the blue button and how blue can make it feel better. So what it's doing is it's getting my internal teams better information for then my product team to go in and do a phenomenal user interview because they've already got a great base of what needs to happen for them to get to that next level. So it's not just saying, oh, you wish that you could do this in 3 clicks instead of 5. It's, oh, 3 clicks are imperative because this is how my mouse is moving and where I'm going, or this is how I'm viewing this, or this is how we're working through. So it allows for a better communication between our internal teams. And one of the things that people ask me and they go, but isn't like voice of the customer, that's a product thing? And I said, absolutely. But I can help be a megaphone for my clients. So every customer has a, yes, we're listening. Yes, we're trying to do like feedback from customer to product. But I find that if you're not doing CX right, it's one way. And the customer's like, well, I told you I wanted this and I haven't really heard about it. We're working and continue. It's always a continuous improvement project, but we're working towards really having that be a full circular motion of, you've asked us for feedback. We're letting you know what we think of that feedback and what we're building. And then you're giving us continuous kind of loop of how all of this is working together. And in building software, that's really important because if you just sit there and say, I know what's best and I'm going to build, you're going to build good stuff now, but you're not going to be thinking ahead of the curve. You're not going to be thinking of, okay, these are the problems of pathologists today. What are they going to be in the future? And you're just catching up and solving problems now. So with that megaphone that my team can be to kind of support my internal teams and give them that data is incredibly valuable.
Right. And I've talked about this with other people before. It accelerates the rate of innovation, of
100%.
of change, of update, because you're constantly evolving in that circle. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't understand why this isn't more common in digital pathology, because this seems to be the best way with a rapidly evolving field. As a software company, you've got to keep up with that.
100%. And you have to be smart about how you do it because
Okay.
there's a thought process that, okay, well, I'm getting all this feedback. I could just hire 1,000 people to go build the things and that'll solve everything. And again, face value, that's like, oh yeah, build more cool things. But if you're just building for the sake of building, it not only can create bloat if you're not building that right in the software, but then it's just, you've got a really cool core product and then a ton of little things on top of it that just like plugins per se or widgets on top of it. And 10 years from now, you look and go, what on earth was this software originally designed to do? There was no thought behind it. You've got to have it where you're listening to the trends, you're understanding the needs from now. And again, you can peek around the corner, think around the corner of what's to come. It needs to happen, especially as you said, with an industry that's evolving as fast as digital pathology is, and as important to human outcomes as this is, we need the best, and we need the best to like now. So I'm pretty passionate about this, that I'm glad we're doing this. And I just think it's imperative as a base level of this is what everyone should be doing. This is how we should be thinking about this.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. You know, one of those trends in digital pathology is it's like growing partnerships. So instead of a company just doing everything on their own, they're partnering with other companies. And again, it's increasing the rate of innovation. And I know Proscia is doing a lot of this. What is the role of CX in growing and expanding partnerships?
The role of CX is really making it where it's not just a on paper partnership, where it's not just, oh, we're partners with them. What does that mean? We're partners with them. Like
Okay.
it's really taking it a step further to say, how do our teams work better together? So how do we have it where if something comes up on my support team, how does my technical support team work with a partner's technical support team to make things better? How do we have it where our implementation team understands and really knows the partner team well from an additional partner that's being used, that we can pull them in to get things done faster, get things done more efficient? And there's different stances that, hey, I can do everything by myself. Well, I'm a big company, I can do everything by myself and I'm going to be proprietary. And then there's the stance that Proscia is taking, which is we're really good at what we do. And then we want to work with the best in class people across the board. And I love that. That's usually been every company I've worked in the industry has taken that more open stance. And that was another thing that attracted me to Proscia of, yeah, we can build really cool stuff, but so can other people. And we want to have it where other folks can use us as a platform and bring in best in class AI technology to that platform for us to use. CX is really that glue. It's the making it where it's not just a paper partnership, that we actually work together, that there's truly a driving factor in making us work more efficiently. And like, again, glue keeping us together.
Okay. You mentioned AI, and I know this is a big part of the Proscia platform. So let's talk specifically about this. Like, how does CX help to ensure that pathologists and researchers can integrate AI into their workflows?
Absolutely. I think a big thing, taking a little step back,
Okay.
a big thing about this industry is none of this is inherently easy to do. Just calling it what it is. This is complicated software, complicated AI algorithms that are being done. So it takes a team of professionals to do it properly. And I think what Proscia brings to the table is that team of professionals. It brings for professional services specifically, it brings a crew of people in that are going to say, hey, I've worked with this software before, I've worked with this AI before. And while of course we're not going to give away anyone's secret sauce, but this is how we've seen this done before. Let's help do this again. So it helps when you're trying to be cutting edge, that you've got a team of cutting edge people with you that have said, hey, we've actually done this before. And even though we're on the cutting edge, we've actually lived here and we're so comfortable with this that we're able to help you bring these vendors on in a really efficient way. So from the partners that we have, from the AI partners we have specifically, they're doing tremendous things, and it's complicated. None of this is a snap of the finger easy. We become that partnership that really allows us to say, okay, you've purchased this. That's fantastic. Here's how we see this working. And we know your workflow. Here's how this would probably fit into your workflow. And don't worry about the technology. We'll handle it. Doesn't mean it's easy, but we're going to make it almost look as it'll look smooth, when in reality, we're a team of professionals that have done a really good job to make that smooth experience come through.
Okay. I like that. Again, forward thinking. That's great.
Absolutely.
Now, if you've got a prospective laboratory and they're looking to get into the digital pathology world, right? What would be your advice for them?
I would look at it and this sounds funny to come from someone at Proscia, but it's choose your partners wisely and really put some thought into it of, okay, what are all of these pieces? Because it's a big decision to make, which doesn't make it a decision we shouldn't make, but it's a big decision to make. And it's all right, what am I going to use from a scanner partner perspective? What am I going to use from an enterprise platform that's going to pull everything together? And a lot of times you could just look at it and logic could tell you, well, I'm just going to get the best of what I think is the best of this, good this, and just silos, go from a logic pattern of select A, then B, then C, then D, then E. And my suggestion is put some thought into, I want a platform that's going to do this. I don't want it to be something where I have to go cobble something together. And even though it's three really good options, they might not work well together. And now you've got a lackluster experience because of that. Put thought into what is the underlying platform that's going to power everything. And then let's figure out the best way to connect everything from that platform. So I'm really passionate about having it where from the beginning of the journey to the end of the journey, that there's some cohesive thought that's gone into it. So at the end, you've got a phenomenal customer experience, which sounds like lame coming from the guy who's got customer experience in his title, But it's really important that you're thinking of, all right, at the end of this, how's this all going to work together? How is this actually going to be? On paper, it looks fantastic because it's, I like A, I like B, I like C. But do they play in the sandbox well? Is it 17 clicks to go back and forth between the two? How does that actually work? So that would be my advice of put some thought into it, look at what an underlying technology is going to be, and make a decision off of what's that end experience going to look like for you.
Okay. So it sounds like you're saying really there needs to be a lot of sort of pre-planning before you start implementing things, which has got to be difficult because like we said earlier, I mean, we want things as fast as we can get them. So you want to make sure you're doing this right.
Yeah. I also, in the same breath, I'm going to say analysis paralysis is not a good thing. You shouldn't say, I'm going to take 4 years to figure this out. This isn't a
Okay.
4-year process. This isn't a year process, but it shouldn't be I'm going to do a quick search and, oh, this looks good. This looks good. This looks good. No matter what laboratory size you are, it's who's a leader in the field, who's going to help make sure that everything's going to connect and everything's going to work well in the end. Because the last thing I'd want is someone to look at it and go, oh, I've got a scanner and I love this scanner, but I hate how it connects to blank. Or, oh, I've got this amazing AI, but it doesn't actually talk to anything. So I feel like I'm not getting a lot of this out of this AI algorithm that I just am looking at and looks pretty, but I've got to do some crazy backwards things to get it to work. It's, again, on paper, it can be alluring. You shouldn't have it that way.
That's giving me some flashbacks. I've been in this field for a 20 plus years now. And I remember the days where new things would come out and they didn't talk to each other and it was horrible. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we're mostly past that kind of stuff.
And that's the thing. It's happened in the past. It almost can become a norm where it's just like, oh, well, that's how it's done. It's like, luckily technology has evolved. It doesn't need to be that way anymore. Like, make sure that you've got something good in the end.
Here's a couple times you've mentioned or you've said, why do we do things the way that we do them? Is that, I like that sort of attitude of looking at, because everybody's got their, oh, this is the way we've always done it. And maybe that's not the right way to do it. When you introduce that to people, to customers, even maybe internally, how do people respond to that?
I think it can be a scary notion. And the good part about Proscia is that is like in our DNA, period. It is a challenge the norm. Look at the way we've been doing things. And even if it's something where we did things in 15 steps before and we did it in 10 now, and we want to get a cake and streamers and party that we're doing it at 10, the next question in our mind should be, what about 8? What about 6? Why do we need any steps? Why isn't this just done? So there's a constant within our company, a constant piece of our DNA and a constant voice that's saying, well, how do we do this better? How do we get better? And that's not, let's just break things and see what happens. It's, let's be intelligent. How do we raise the bar? How do we make it where we're not happy with the normal? Like, we're not accepting mediocrity. We're not accepting the norm. Now, the problem with that is the norm is comfortable. Like, doing things the way that you've always done is comfortable, and humans see comfort. Like, I don't blame them. It's, you don't want to be in pain. You don't want to have growing pain. But internally, we're very comfortable with, we should be feeling growing pain. And if we're not feeling hey, we're doing something new and trying something new and living on the edge, it's not going to get us to where we want to go. So it's because of that being part of our DNA, the folks here are very passionate about that. So you're now surrounded with like-minded individuals that are always looking at things, which makes the conversations with customers easier because you're not just going in and being like, we're going to break stuff and hope it works. Isn't this going to be fantastic? And they're like, whoa, I still like microscopes. Like, get away from me. What are you talking about? It's really allowing it where they look at it. And I believe our customers see us as, okay, these are humans that have put a lot of thought into this and that are really comfortable in this world of a constant evolving and shifting digital landscape. I'm going to work with them to do that because it can be a frightening journey to be in. And when you've got a partner that's just comfortable in the uncomfortable, helps navigate the gray and it helps push and work with clients to like get through something that would normally be uncomfortable, make it less uncomfortable and really help guide them in their journey.
That makes sense. All right. So last question. What's next for the CX team?
So I feel like I love that you asked that because I feel like I just made the point of like never celebrate where you are and move forward. And I think that's exactly where we're going. I think the CX team in general is constantly asking what's next? How do we do this better? How do we go tackle this? And for us, a big evolution is this customer success program of how do we have trusted advisors that can help our clients and steward our clients moving forward. And this is a piece that wasn't part of Proscia 2 years ago and that we've built out. And I think what's next for us is really putting our money where our mouth is, where every software company I feel says, we're not a vendor, we're a trusted partner. And you could ask
Right.
a lot of the humans that use the software and go, I have no idea who those people are. Like they're a name to me on an email. I've never met them. What's next for customer success is being oh, they do this differently. Like, oh, I know these humans. Oh, I have a relationship here. Oh, this company actually listens to me and cares about what we're talking about. And we're really taking that piece and making that a tenet in CX of we do what's right for our customer. We do what's right for the company, but we're doing what's right for our customer. We're balancing those needs and making sure that that's part of the core DNA of CX. So there's no flashy new technology. We're going from 3 divisions to 6 divisions. It's
Mhm.
how do we get incredibly efficient on behalf of our customers? How do we get deeper into solving problems for our customers? And how do we help our company get better at solving those problems for the customer? So that's really the direction that the CX team is going. Challenge the norm, keep pushing, keep working on making things even better than they were before.
That's great. I love that attitude. Jason, this has been super interesting conversation. I appreciate your time. Jason Maloney, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Great being here.
If you're looking for another episode of the People of Pathology podcast to check out after this one, here's a clip from my interview with Imogene Fitt and Nathan Buchbinder as we talk about emerging trends in pathology.
So the need and the range of use cases, as Nathan mentioned previously, is quite vast. Broadly, I like to put it into separate buckets. So you have AI for what is quality control. When you're digitizing slides, you might want to identify artifacts or tissue folding, something that might suggest that the slide itself is not right and allows you to intervene before the pathologist ever gets to it and rescan essentially and retake the sample if necessary. There's things like AI for decision support, which tends to be your more basic cell counting algorithms, which save pathologists time, but don't necessarily add any more information than what would be gathered previously. That can have a big impact in terms of efficiency, spending time doing things that are going to provide the most value to the patient.
You can hear more from Imogene Fitt and Nathan Buchbinder in episode 182. All right, big thanks to Jason Maloney. Customer experience, or CX, is an important aspect that extends beyond the initial sale of software or services. It involves an approach to ongoing support and engagement with clients after the purchase, ensuring they derive maximum value from the solutions provided. Jason mentioned 3 key components of customer experience. The first is professional services. This is often the first point of contact after a sale. Close collaboration with clients helps configure the software according to their specific goals and requirements. By understanding the client's objectives, the professional services team can tailor the implementation process, ensuring a smoother transition and quicker time to value. The second is technical support. When clients encounter issues, the technical support team steps in to provide effective solutions. This support is crucial during moments of frustration, helping clients feel understood and valued. The goal is to resolve problems quickly, allowing clients to continue their work without significant disruptions. And the third part is customer success. This area focuses on maintaining long-term relationships with clients. Customer success managers engage with clients to understand their ongoing needs and challenges, ensuring that they are not just using the software, but also achieving their desired outcomes. This proactive approach helps identify potential issues ahead of time and fosters a collaborative relationship. Of these, customer success is probably the most important. As we discussed, though, in digital pathology, it isn't that common. Rather than viewing clients merely as users of the software, Jason advises to treat them as partners, as humans. This perspective allows for deeper insights into their experiences and needs. Many companies may collect feedback through surveys or interviews, and Jason notes that Proscia does this too. But Jason's team also aims to foster deeper relationships with clients. This approach allows the team to understand the underlying reasons behind customer requests, leading to more meaningful enhancements in the software. For instance, if a customer requests a feature change, instead of simply implementing it, they seek to understand the context behind the request. This deeper understanding enables the product team to make informed decisions that align with the customer's workflows and needs. So basically, that initial feedback can improve the product and help other customers. The CX team at Proscia aims to create a sense of trust and partnership with clients. By being accessible and responsive, they work to ensure that clients feel connected to the company. This relationship building is essential in an industry where technology can be complex and the stakes are high. Clients who feel supportive are more likely to engage fully with the software and provide constructive feedback, which in turn drives innovation and improvement. One of the significant achievements of Proscia's CX initiatives has been the reduction in the time it takes for clients to go live with the software. Focusing on the strengths of team members and streamlining processes has improved efficiency. Jason explained that by allowing specialists to focus on their areas of expertise, the company has not only sped up the implementation process, but also enhanced the quality of the initial deployment. This reduction in time to go live translates to quicker access to the software for clients, allowing them to start realizing the benefits sooner. Also, the improved quality of the deployment means that clients are more satisfied with the product from the beginning. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, I don't work for a digital pathology company. Why should this matter to me? Jason mentioned that customer experience initiatives are common in other industries, and we all deal with vendors. Some companies have started customer advisory boards or similarly named groups. This is customer experience in action, and I think it's a great idea. The point is, if you have the opportunity to be part of these groups, it's worth considering. Your feedback could help advance this field and improve efficiency for all of us. As always, I'll have links in the show notes to everything that we talked about today. Don't forget you can follow the show at People of Path on Twitter and Instagram, or just connect with me on LinkedIn. Oh, and speaking of LinkedIn, if you are a pathologist assistant or an aspiring pathologist assistant, there's a new group on LinkedIn called the Pathologist Assistant Shadowing Network. We all know that one of the most challenging requirements for the aspiring student is finding shadowing opportunities. This group aims to make that easier by providing a place for prospective students to connect with practicing pathologist assistants who are available for shadowing. So check that out on LinkedIn, and I'll also include a link in the show notes. Thank you for continuing to share the show with others. Together, let's inspire the next generation of pathologists and laboratory professionals. This show is a member of Health Podcast Network. Thanks for listening. I'm Dennis Strank, and I'll talk to you next time on the People of Pathology podcast.